to the book club for movies. It is Wednesday, March 24th. Amy and Samir here. Samir, how are you doing? I'm going to get us shared.
I'm doing well. It's a very busy day, and I've been looking forward to this lovely lunch break all day.
Oh, yes. Well, we so appreciate that you continue to spend your lunch breaks with us. So I have something a little special for people. There's something that I used to do when I first started doing the book club for movies a year ago now. We're kind of celebrating the 1-year anniversary this week. And I used to do this. It was before Samir joined me. I barely even had people watch me. So I usually was just kind of like talking to myself. But what it is I have this fun little Name That Movie book, and it has 6 illustrated images that are supposed to represent a movie. And so I thought I'd do this again. I thought I'd show them, and then you, as the audience, try and guess what the film is. And Samir, if you know what it is, keep it to yourself.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, I just thought maybe just go in order. We'll probably maybe we'll do 1 or 2 today. Maybe do a couple.
See how it goes.
There's like 100 of them, but this is the first one, so I'm going to start showing these as closely and clearly as I can. So there's image 1. That's only half of it. So again, if you know what it is, go ahead and write it in the comments. Well, most people would have had this on image 2.
Right. Image 2 was definitely the clincher.
Yeah. So if you know what this movie is, don't be shy. Let's put it over here in the comments.
Now we're looking at it backwards, but it's just like that one. If you don't know what this movie is from that image,
yeah,
we need to talk, and I will help you.
And it's hard doing this because we have a delay in the comments. So we're like, here we go. We got the first one from Walter. Yes, it is.
I knew Walter would know.
Casablanca. Yes, the classic Casablanca. All right, I'm going to do one more for today.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay, this is a fun one. If Casablanca isn't your scene, then maybe you'll get this one. So again, if you know what this is, go ahead and write it in the comments. This is a movie that kind of shaped who I am, comedy-wise.
Go back to the beginning.
Hang on back. You guys know what it is? Samir, do you know what it is?
I do.
All right, guys, don't be shy. Type it in the comments. Type in the comments.
Come on, somebody knows.
I know. See, this just went up. Here we go. Yes, it is Zoolander. Although, put a question mark there, Luke.
I think he just hedging his bets with that question mark, but he knew. We all knew. I think it was when you get to the because obviously the model thing was the first, like the magazine cover and then the models. That just instantly tells me. But then when you go, it's funny to look at all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you get to the what is this? The Center for Ant?
Yeah. And the Mac that they try to turn on.
Files are in the computer?
Anyway, I think we'll probably do a couple of those each day. I think it's fun. I think it's fun to kind of
bring it back.
Broken down into all of these iconic images. But yeah, there we go. But we will be talking about actress Eva Green today. One of my favorites, one of Samir's favorites. We love her. But before that, let's talk about yesterday's film. Yesterday we talked about Joseph von Sternberg, he's from Austria, right? Austrian
Austrian American.
Yes, Austrian American director. And one of his many collaborations with Marlene Dietrich, The Scarlet Empress. So this is the
Possibly.
second Sternberg Dietrich collab that we've done in doing the show. The other one was Morocco. I love the Scarlet Empress a lot more. I mean, I liked Morocco, and it has a lot of iconic things in Morocco as far as Marlene Dietrich goes. But this movie, yes,
everything. It's everything, isn't it?
Yes, it certainly was. Just like, I mean, God,
mind-blowing that
in each frame. It's like I'm looking at the costumes, I'm looking at the decor, I'm looking at these weird, quirky actors. There was just like, so many crazy things, and like, ooh, who is this ambassador guy?
Oh yes.
And like every single one of Marlene Dietrich's costumes was just incredible. I think this won Best Art Direction.
Did it? I mean, it makes sense. If it did, it would make sense. I don't know that it did, though.
Let me.
It should have.
I feel like when we were looking at movies for next month, I think like it popped up. But let me see.
Oh, yeah, maybe, and we didn't pick it because it had already been chosen for this month. But this is like I said on Instagram, come for the crazy art direction, stay for the crazy political, sexual chicanery of the plot, and it holds true because visually this movie is just—it's mind-blowing to think this was made in 1935. After the production code, it's just like all the macabre details, all the little automatons are all weird. Like first there's the one that flashes when the cuckoo clock goes, and then there's the other one with like an executioner hitting a head with a mace to ring the bell each time. It's like so like where do you even, you had to have had this made for this movie. So many weird sculptures and like candles that are like
3 feet long,
like 7 feet high.
Yeah, it's I realized that I think I must have seen clips of this in a film class, like particularly that first montage where he's reading the story and you see all of the torture, and then that transition of like the man swinging inside the bell going to her swinging on the swing. I think I'd seen that in a film class, which for a second made me think like, have I seen this movie? And then as the rest of the movie went on, I realized like, no, I definitely have not seen this.
It's so perverse, that moment too, because it's like, this is like an excruciating execution, basically, they're doing this person, and then it's combined with like the joy of a child on a swing as the transition. It's just like that kind of perversity and macabreness is like everywhere in this movie, and it's like almost like a black comedy at times, and then it becomes this like great like political drama where she understands that like her sexuality is her greatest weapon to amass the right allies to take power
like
and
the entire army.
Like, oh my God, but I just loved every time she's walking through the barracks and she's just like, you can see the difference between her represented by the way she handles that little bit of wheat in the beginning where she's like, ooh.
Yeah, it was really interesting, I'd say, for like the first third of this movie to see Marlene Dietrich play this like, oh, like I'm like the young, naive princess who's been brought to Russia. Yeah, and she's like looking around at everything. And it was weird kind of seeing Marlene Dietrich like that, because I feel like a lot of people recognize her as being this more like sultry persona, and then just watch her transition into something that we're more familiar with, but just the range she had in a single film.
Incredible. And I love the moment where at first, you know, she's speaking so much with her eyes throughout the movie, like that goes from the wide eyes to like they begin to narrow as she matures and starts to understand what she needs to do to get by. And there's that moment where like Count Elizabeth, oh, Lizzie, collecting the soldiers again. Like, you know, I love that. Like even there's moments of comedy, like when they're like announcing like, oh, that he's going to marry, this is your new bride. And then they show that they cut to like a reaction shot of Lizzie and she's like,
yeah.
And I'm just like, it's something that's comical about it. And I think it's intentional, and it always makes me laugh. I think it's supposed to look ridiculous, and then she's like, "Oh, I think always collecting soldiers." You know, like that's like her only job there, and she's like, "You've entertained him long enough. Get the fuck out." But when she comes back, and then she's like, "Wow, we're gonna get rid of you," and Marlene Dietrich just basically says with her eyes,
"Yeah, she doesn't say anything. She just like looks up and down, like, we'll see about that. We'll see what's going to happen with that."
Without any words, she tells her, "You are doomed, and you're on your way out, bitch." I love her character. And then she gets her vengeance against the hot ambassador dude. All these hot dudes, all these hot guys with hair and mustaches. I was like, oh, there's even a moment. I don't know if you noticed this. So this is that moment when when they're having. Okay, first of all, that banquet. Remember the first banquet? The shot of the table that starts with the skeleton holding the punch bowl.
Yeah,
and then it just
travels slowly, and the guy
all the way up and down,
eating the pig's head,
just from the snout. I'm like, that looks like real meat too. Whoa, way to go for it, buddy. That shot I love. But then there's the second one where it's just them, and their group and everything. And then she like leaves with that other army guy, and then he's like, "Well, you're nothing now. You're not a whatever." The camera then sort of like pans down just a little bit, as if to like bring their crotches into like screen center, and it's like, which one's the bigger man? I'm going with the heftier, muscular, handsome one, as opposed to the freakish looking Sam Jaffe as Peter the Third in this movie. Were you prepared for his like moments? Like, ugh. Every time he got a close up, he was like, let me scare them a little more with this face.
Completely crazed. I mean, it was just like so horrifying to think that someone would be forced to marry him.
Not just forced to marry, forced to have sex and sire and heir with. Yeah, so like when she meets him and she's like shocked. She's
like, I'm gonna go have sex with literally anyone else.
Anyone. Is there anyone in the
It's just not gonna be you.
Of course, that's what happens. She has sex. You're very fortunate. Very fortunate indeed. You know,
so she's like, you do.
Like, you know, those Russian guards,
yeah, it was.
They knew who to follow.
It was extremely enjoyable, visually compelling on so many levels. The acting was great. It had comedy, it had drama, it had excitement, it had horses.
And jokes about the horse
running upstairs, and
the final shot where she's like, and she's got the horse by her side, and we're all like, oh dear, Joseph. Joseph. The horse jokes. Because the first time it's like she's in a stable and you get a reaction shot of the horse like neighing at them. So it's like he's not letting go this like weird sexist rumor about her. Which is just made a joke of in the movie and obviously not taken seriously. It's just another source of dark humor as opposed to like, this is what happened in history. But it's also pretty blunt about it, you know, like, oh yeah, like she was really screwed over when she came to Russia. Big time. They took her kid away. Like,
I know, you never see that kid again.
Never. Watch it. This is a movie that I used to own on video before it was ever on DVD, and I had watched another one. I had to replace my video of it because I watched it so many times, and I used to write emails to Criterion Collection begging them to get this movie on DVD. Nobody else will do it. Only you will do it. When will you do it? And finally, after years, it was on their schedule. I bought it like the first day it was released.
I'm sure we could all thank you for single-handedly writing those emails over the years.
Well, you know, me and probably other cineasts, of course, but, you know, sometimes just annoying people enough. If it's on their docket, they're like, okay, can we just move this up the calendar? I'm really tired of these emails from this 17-year-old. This is so it's now that it's back on the app. I'm so glad it was made available again for us to include in our schedule.
Yeah, it was great.
My favorite of their collaborations is this movie. Like the next one, their last one, The Devil Is a Woman, very funny and twisted too in its own unique way. So definitely that's worth a watch. I have the box set from Criterion that has all of their films, all 7 of the films they made together in one set. I think all 7, maybe it has 6 of them, but I think it has all 7. But that's how I'm able to watch them whenever I want. It was a great purchase. I get a lot of mileage out of that box set. But thankfully, they brought it back to the streaming channel, so everyone else can enjoy it.
Again, all of their collaborations are on the Criterion app right now. If you want to watch this, if you didn't get a chance to watch it, it's on Criterion. Morocco, that we watched a few months ago, that's on there, as well as their 5 other films, and hopefully I'll try and watch at least one more of them before they remove it, if at all. Sorry, I keep yawning. I am drinking tea.
I know. Wake up.
I know. Anyway, fabulous film. But let's move on to Eva Green. Someone else. I know. I love this. I mean, the woman is physically flawless. Okay, like I feel like is incapable of taking a bad photo, and this one I was just drawn to. But I've been a fan of hers for years. I haven't necessarily seen like everything she's ever done, but everything I do see her in, or I don't know, she's someone like if she's coming out in a movie, she is the selling factor for me. Of like,
yes, same.
Yes. Yeah, but let's learn a little bit about Miss Eva Green. She is French. She was born July 6th, 1980. She has a fraternal twin sister who she has said she's like nothing like at all. Her mother is an actress and an author. Her father is a dental surgeon. She got into acting when she was around 14. And her mother was kind of worried about her, even though she was an actor, she was worried about her pursuing acting because she was like really shy and sensitive. And she thought like, well, I don't know if she can handle being an actor.
She can handle it.
Yeah, but she began training in acting. She was really like, she described herself as like nerdy and quiet in school. She started in theater, and in 2002, she was in Bernardo Bertolucci's The Dreamers, which was her, that was her big debut, and what a debut. I think she's
big time debut.
Majorly known for that. Her parents tried to talk her out of doing that role because
she didn't listen to them.
No, she didn't. But that movie has a lot of graphic sex scenes in it. It has full frontal nudity from her in several scenes. And they were comparing, they thought that, I guess, Maria Schneider in Last Tango in Paris had kind of a traumatic experience. And she thought, like, or I guess their parents were like, the same thing's going to happen to you. And this is your first movie. And this is a lot. But she did it. She did it and caught the attention of the world.
Really? That was
became very popular among a lot of heterosexual men.
Well, yeah. And also, as a gay man, I just appreciate the fabulousness that she brings. I loved her character in The Dreamers. That was, where I also first saw her. And it was like, the movie didn't make a ton of money, but it had such a wide word of mouth amongst the film critic and, like the film art world. Like everybody who worked in film, I think in some way, watch that movie because it's also about like young cinematic obsessed revolutionary people in France in the late 60s. And it's tied into the Henri Langlois and the Langlois Museum that's now in Paris. And so there's all of this stuff sort of tied. So there's like cinema and revolution all tied into it. So it's a movie that movie lovers loved because also made by Bertolucci and also not something we expected from Bertolucci in his the halcyon days of his old age, I guess. And I just instantly fell in love with her from that movie. I thought she was amazing. And the actor from the movie, we will be talking about later.
Yes, it was her Man Crush Monday pick. She next was in Kingdom of Heaven. Didn't necessarily get, I guess a lot of her role was cut from that film. Mm-hmm. I actually own that movie. It's just been forever since I've seen it. But her, I'd say, international blockbuster breakthrough was being in Casino Royale. As that was such a huge movie anyway. Of like, okay, here's we have a new James Bond, and it is such. I love that movie. And she had turned that role down. She had been offered the role, I think, the year before, and was just like, I just don't know if I want to be a Bond girl. I don't know if I just want to be like the eye candy. Like I've already done some other films where my body is shown so much. I don't know if I want to do that. And then I guess like they'd already started filming, and kind of last minute they were like, okay, look, can we send you the script? Because like we really want you in this. And she read it and was like, oh, this character actually has depth. And she's different from all the other women because she's the one who like kind of breaks James Bond. Like, you know, he actually falls in love with her and she's not just another fling. Yeah. So
it's a real character, basically.
Yeah. So she took the role and I mean, that was, I don't even know how many hundreds of millions of dollars that movie made. Instantly, just like a superstar, you know, and all of the campaign videos for that and everything. Like, you know, she was in commercials and all of that. Next, she was in The Golden Compass. She was briefly in, well, I guess she was in Quantum of Solace, technically in a flashback. But she's an actress who's been really careful about her roles. She only has 29 acting credits right now.
One of them is a series that was very popular, though.
Yes, she has been in TV series as well. Penny Dreadful. Yes, she is in Sin City: A Dame to Kill For. Once again, showing off her flawless physique. But she has kind of avoided the Hollywood scene for a while. She also has collaborated with Tim Burton 3 times now. Someone who she was really, really excited to work with. But she lives in Paris and London. She doesn't live in LA. She says that she's like kind of a home buddy. She's like, yeah, I go to work and then I come home and I just want to like read a book and play with my dog and
I love her.
Wine. I know she's 40. She's unmarried. I haven't known about any, unless she just keeps it really private. I haven't known about any love interests with her, but she has this like otherworldly quality about her that people love. And she has also said that she likes playing villains because it kind of lets her unleash sort of that side of her, which is one of the benefits of acting. And I kind of relate to that too. I think it's fun to play characters who are the opposite of you because it's like, it's not often I get to scream at people.
Well, you know, it's an opportunity to also let off some steam. You can channel some energy that's maybe you haven't found an outlet for. You can find it in a character sometimes. I am maybe in the minority in liking her collaborations with Tim Burton. This may be controversial. I do not hate the remake of Dumbo that I think she's in.
She is.
And
so
I
she's in,
loved her in it.
I haven't seen Miss Peregrine yet.
I liked her in that too, but everybody hated it.
Well, we had considered doing that movie for today, but Dark Shadows is fun.
It's more fun for people who grew up watching that show.
Now,
like my mother loved that show. It's such a unique thing that was ever on TV. So I feel like the families who had that playing in their house growing up, like there's a nostalgia factor that makes that movie fun. And I just love her. She just has a look that can translate to so many different type of roles. Really, she can vanish into each role and just be that role. And you're not thinking of her previous performance or what other movie she's famous for. There's none of that affecting your ability to watch her in a movie now. Because there's some actors where it's like, you know, it's kind of hard for me to watch Tom Hanks in a movie now. We're so familiar with him that you watch him in a movie and you're like, oh, I love Tom Hanks. And you kind of bring a whole history of the actor with you to certain movies. And she, somehow the way she performs in movies, she differentiates herself so well in each role. And I think she just inhabits her roles like just so well for me. And I just like her energy on camera that I'm not thinking about what other roles she's done and how I can't I don't have to break my mind out of a mold with her to see her in a role, which I do feel like actors as famous as Tom Hanks, sometimes you do have to kind of settle in and let the performance really sort of pull you in to then you're in. But there is sort of a step you need to take to get up to it and get over the knowledge of that star persona. And there's even other actors that aren't stars that you kind of have the same thing with. If they just had an iconic role and that's what you see them as forever. And somehow she has a couple big breakout roles and those are not defining her as an actress or limiting what kind of roles she can play. She's still done all kinds of really amazing, fun stuff. You just go through what she's been in. It may only be 29 credits, but I'm pretty sure that almost all of those will be entertaining and she will be
sure.
really fun to watch in them.
Recently she was in the TV series, The Luminaries, or TV miniseries, I should say. She's filming something right now. She has a couple things that are in pre-production, including a French, The Three Musketeers, which also features our Man Crush Monday pick this week.
When is that coming out? When? Tell me now.
It says pre-production.
Okay, well, who do we have to annoy to make sure that it moves from pre-production to actual production?
I don't know.
Because that needs to happen. That movie needs to happen. I've been wanting a Three Musketeers movie with actual French people in the roles, because everyone is like British actors. I'm like, you're in France.
No,
why do you sound like you're from Wales?
French actors. Vincent Cassel is in it. Yeah, all French people. Yeah, but so we will not be short of upcoming evergreen films to watch. Yeah, if you haven't watched Penny Dreadful is great too. And that's I think it's on Netflix too, but it is a Showtime show, which is what today's movie is on. Today's movie that we picked is Perfect Sense. This is only available on Showtime. So if you don't have Showtime, I just signed up for yesterday. You can get a 30-day free trial. I have an alarm set on my phone to cancel it the day before it renews, just in case. I mean, I'll reconsider at that point, but currently I'm planning on canceling it. But Perfect Sense, this came out in 2011. A chef and a scientist fall in love as an epidemic begins to rob people of their sensory perceptions. Starring, of course, Eva Green and Ewan McGregor. It's been years since I've seen this movie, and I hope I love it as much as I think I do, because it's one of those movies where I keep thinking about it, and it might have been built up a little bit in my head. But this is a movie that I swear I think about this movie like once a week. As far as like, not only was it just so good, but the actual story was so interesting and such like a really unique concept. I mean, it's technically a science fiction film. I don't know. I just feel like it's a perfect example of this particular type of science fiction film, where it's like, it doesn't have aliens. It doesn't have, I don't know, anything with space or time travel. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, maybe this could even happen. It's depressing. It's depressing, like Contagion is kind of depressing.
So it's not suspenseful.
No, it's not suspenseful at all. But it still is a romance as well. With
romantic drama.
Yes. But this movie, yeah, I'm just super excited to watch this movie again. She's great in it. Ewan McGregor's great in it. And again, the actual concept of it is it's like the whole world all at once starts to lose their physical senses one by one. I think the first one, it's like everyone loses their ability to smell. And then it's like the world kind of adapts to that. And then all of a sudden it's like, wow, now everyone's starting to lose their taste. And then it just like keeps going, and it gets worse and worse.
I am excited to watch it. I've actually never seen this movie, and I love Eva Green too. Who you had, as you mentioned yesterday, we learned that her name is pronounced Eva Green, despite us, or your perhaps natural instinct to say Ava or Eva, Eva.
Eva Green.
It's because of the Calm app, because I actually get ads for it on Instagram all the time, like, and it'll play a snippet of some celebrity actor or something who's reading some story in a beautiful, calm voice, and it's like, I'm Eva Green.
Yeah,
and I'm like, she has a little bit of a vocal fry when she speaks in the soft tone, which was disconcerting because I never associated her voice with that fry, but I never listened. Maybe I will notice it now. But I love that app. I don't really pay for it because I don't want to pay for it, but there are some great choices on there, and Eva Green is one of the better choices of the actors. So when you do get that app, if you ever need softly narrated stories to help you relax or go to sleep, Eva Green and Laura Dern are like the top choices for that app, guaranteed. You will feel so soothed and relaxed.
They've got some good people on there. Honestly, even the Matthew McConaughey one's kind of nice to listen to.
Sorry. I don't know if it's gonna make me relax. All right.
Well, no, the way it's like listening to his Lincoln commercials like on repeat.
Oh, look, one of our other Man Christian Mondays from Irish Week, Killian Murphy has some on there too. Ooh.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Wouldn't mind an Irish accent telling me a story.
We can practice our Irish as we.
Somebody give me their Com app password. No.
So Perfect Sense, again, it's only on Showtime. It has the 30-day free trial. After that, I think it's $10.99 a month. Now, I did see a thing. I think if I continue to go with Showtime, which as of now I'm not going to do, but I did see there's a bundle with Showtime and Paramount Plus, which encompasses a lot of things, and that's $14.99 a month. So you can get both of those. It's one of those things that's like for a few bucks more. So that's something, if you actually end up sticking with Showtime, you might want to consider that. I'd have to see exactly what all is included with Paramount Plus. I used to have CBS All Access, and then that kind of got...
It's the same thing, but with even more content added from Paramount. Yeah. So movies from Paramount Pictures, basically. Anything owned by Paramount or run by Paramount will probably eventually end up on there. I think, actually, there's another season, a sort of international all-star season of Drag Race, because that is on VH1, which is under the umbrella of Paramount and under the parent umbrella of Viacom. That show is going to be streamed on Paramount Plus instead of VH1, apparently. Wow. So if you're a Drag Race fan like I am, and I don't know if anybody else on this in our audience today is, except maybe Dear Crystal, that's something that's coming up is going to be on there. So you'll probably anything that's owned by Paramount is going to probably be on there. And eventually, when they're licensed, if they probably have stuff licensed to other streaming services, and when those licenses expire, there will be Paramount products or properties that were on Netflix and now it's on Paramount Plus, or it was on Prime and now it's on Paramount Plus.
They're all taken over. I know. It's just there's so many streaming apps. Everyone's got one.
So many things. Exactly. Mark's saying so many channels these days. That's why, I think it's a good system if you have a nice circle of friends or family that you feel comfortable doing that with. I've been suggesting people, hey, like I'll subscribe to these things, you subscribe to these things. We can split the cost of everything and we'll share our passwords with each other and we'll create a profile for each other on each of these apps. And then everybody can cut down on the cost of those things because there's so many of them. And so much content that you do eventually want to watch. Sometimes you discover, oh, that's on here. So now I have to have that for me to watch it in the, so that's why when Apple TV Plus started, I'm like, what the hell is this? Why are they doing this? Stop. Why do we need another streaming thing? And I was like, oh, great. This is going to be the wave of the future for the next few years. But yeah, that's just how it's going to be. I suggest doing that with your friends. It's an elevation of hipster cable. You're just not one person just using 500 different people's passwords and not paying for anything themselves. I think that's unfair. You should contribute to the friends who are giving you something. So you work out a system. Everybody can work out their own system and decide what you want.
Currently, Samir and I, he gave me his Shudder password and I gave him my Discovery Plus password. And as of now, it's
worked out.
But maybe we'll have to do a Showtime Paramount Plus split. We'll have to see about that.
My God.
We'll have to see. Anywho, please watch Perfect Sense only on Showtime. Please take advantage of that 30-day free trial if you haven't yet. Tomorrow is our final Genre Thursday for the month, and we are going out with a fun one of Princess Mononoke. Something very different from everything else we've done for our other genre days this month. So it'll be fun. Check out our Patreon. Put that over in the comments. Check out our merchandising on Redbubble. Either search for my name or search for the Book Club for Movies and you will find it. Hope everyone enjoys Perfect Sense and just falling in love with Eva and Ewan. Ewan and Eva. Oh, you're wonderful. Thank you guys for watching today.